What's up, party people? We're back. Unfortunately, it is getting very dark very early, so I'm filming on the iPhone, not the camera. So it kind of gets a little bit more light than the camera does. Maybe if I knew how to use the camera properly, I would be able to make it look good, but I don't know. I don't know how to use it really, so it is what it is. Anyways, we have another Flannery O'Connor short story, which you'll got to get used to because there's quite a few in this volume. I don't know, like 20, 25. And I'm doing one a week, and we're like 4 or 5 into it. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot more to come. We got a stack of books here too, which is great. I also finished reading G.K. Chesterton's The Everlasting Man. I didn't really like it that much. Now the premise behind his argument I do appreciate, right? He's trying to show two things: that humans are not similar to other animals, even though we share their biology, and that Christianity is not similar to other religions, even though it may share certain characteristics. So I think the point is good, but I don't really like his style of prose. I find myself getting lost and kind of just being bored often, but he is very quotable. So mixed feelings on Chesterton. I feel like maybe I haven't read any of his kids' books yet, like the Father Brown stuff. I have a feeling that maybe he does a better job at writing that kind of book than he does this kind of book. But anyways, don't want to hate on him too much because he's definitely a good writer. Anyways, the stack here that we got a lot of P.G. Wodehouse. It looks like Wodehouse, but it's in fact Wodehouse. This guy, British guy, born in Surrey, England. Although he grew up for a significant amount of years in Hong Kong, where his dad was an ambassador. So that's kind of interesting that he grew up in a foreign country, especially, I guess he wouldn't be too old. Maybe he's like early 20th century. So travel was still pretty common, I guess, but they didn't have airplanes, or at least passenger airplanes like Boeings or anything. So that's a big trip to make by boat, for sure. Anyways, I got a bunch of stuff by Wodehouse. So he's famous for his, what's the guy's name? Bertie and Jeeves or something like that. Anyways, he has a whole bunch of books about, they're farcical, like funny, humorous books, about this young, rich Londoner who has like this funny butler named Jeeves, and they get into trouble. So I've got Right Ho Jeeves, I've got The Code of the Woosters, and I've also got The Mating Season, all of which involve those central characters. Now, I'm not sure how many he made in that sort of universe with those characters, but yeah, that's what he's well known for, and that's 3 of them there. So I've also got his Service with a Smile, that's seen better days. Both the front and back cover have chunks taken out of them. This one, again, hard to find like a summary for it online or on the back cover. It just says that they kind of get into antics, and there's a plot to eliminate a prize pig. Anyways, so it sounds funny. And then this one here is called Mulliner Nights, and it's kind of written in the style of like the Decameron that we talked about last week, or Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, where you have a guy kind of just sitting down and like narrating multiple stories or multiple short stories in a row that aren't necessarily connected to each other. So yeah, multiple short stories within the larger narrative. So that will be good. Speaking of many short stories within a larger narrative, I also picked up Herman Melville's The Confidence Man. Now, this one, apparently it was kind of discredited when it first came out as being like an imperfect or flawed novel, and then upon later review by critics, it was realized that actually, hey, maybe Melville's a genius, and it's been reassessed as a very good work. And the structure, as I mentioned, is very similar to Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. We have a group of people that meet on a steamboat and kind of share stories with one another. So that's that one. The only thing I've read by Melville is Moby Dick, although I do have some of his other stuff, like I have Billy Budd and short stories, I have Redburn, I have Typee, so I'm looking forward to diving into more Melville because I really liked Moby Dick. Next up, adding to our Steinbeck collection, we have In Dubious Battle. Now this is quintessential Steinbeck, okay? it's set in California back in the 30s. So it's also meant to be the precursor, or not necessarily meant, but kind of interpreted as the precursor to Grapes of Wrath. So I haven't read Grapes of Wrath, even though most people probably did in high school, but this is the precursor, so not sure if I'll read it first or then read Grapes of Wrath and then read this one, but anyways, should be good. Next up, I made a classic blunder. I bought William Golding's Fire Down Below, which the reason it's a classic blunder is because it's the third in a trilogy, and I don't have the other books. So yeah, won't be getting to that one anytime soon. But it's about, I think it's about a ship that sails, and all three books are about the ship. Now, Moby Dick has sort of sparked off a love for fiction on the ocean and the sea, and so I am looking forward to reading this trilogy eventually, but I'll have to find the other two books first. So, and speaking about sea novels, we have Daniel Defoe's The King of Pirates. This was published by Hesperus, which they make kind of cool covers. I generally like their bindings. Anyways, yeah, this one's also obviously about a life at sea. So after Defoe published, I read this like last year. I'm having a brain, I know what it's called, I'm just having a brain fart. Where is it? Robinson Crusoe, of course, yeah. So Robinson Crusoe, I think I have a video on that from a while back. Yeah, guy gets shipwrecked on an island, kind of makes a life for himself. After he wrote that, it obviously became famous right away, so he wanted to write more sea-related things. So he wrote this. It's a lot shorter than Robinson Crusoe, but it's about a pirate who kind of writes an account of his life. So it's like, he obviously wasn't a pirate in his lifetime, Defoe, but he had enough experience at sea to sort of write this novel. Anyways, should be good. Next up, we've got Thomas Nash's The Unfortunate Traveler, plus some other works. So there's the cover there. Now, Nash was a contemporary of Shakespeare, and I think that the way this one works is that he's got his main character. I don't know if it says the name here. Anyways, I'm pretty sure this is the one, or am I messing it up with the next one? No, I think this is the one where the main character goes around interacting with different historical events and historical figures. So that should be pretty interesting. Now, the cover is kind of crazy. It has like 20 people being lynched on a tree. I'm not really sure how that relates to the plot. But yeah, this one's quite famous. So I'm looking forward to reading this. Yeah, interesting. Next up, we have something that came 200 years after Nash, which is Lawrence Stern's The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy. Now, the back cover says that it's kind of bawdy and humorous and kind of crazy. Apparently in the first two chapters, the hero narrator fails to even be born, so I'm not even sure how he's narrating from inside the womb, I guess. I'm not really sure. So this one's quite funny. And this one, incidentally, also has great flop. So I promise to keep you guys updated on the flop. And there you go. This paperback, a bit older, bit battered. Okay, there's like old stickers on it, but it does indeed flop quite well. And the pages are very smooth and kind of old and yellowed, and it smells great. So plus 1 point for Stern's Tristram Shandy. Last one we've got here is a bit of an older book from the 12th century. It's Wolfram von Eschenbach, and it's called Parzival. Parzival, that's right. And this guy was a German dude, and he picked up the story, the unfinished story by a previous writer of the Search for the Holy Grail, and he finished it. Now, obviously, it's translated from the High Middle German or whatever it was originally written in, and yeah, it's supposed to be about like God and chivalric love and romance and adventure. So hard to go wrong when you have those themes. So yeah, looking forward to reading that as well. Perhaps in tandem with I don't have my glasses on here. What is that? It's Le Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory, because that also is oh, sorry, that's not Search for the Grail. That's King Arthur and the Round Table and Lancelot. Although maybe, does Lancelot search for the Grail? I'm not sure. That goes to show how much I know. Yeah, not too sure. Maybe he does. Anyways, I digress. So last but not least, this week I read Flannery O'Connor's The Crop. So that I think is like the 4th or 5th one. I'm not sure. Anyways, again, I'm gonna say this every week. It was very good. Do yourself a favor, okay? Pick this up at the store if you see it. But in The Crop, we have a young lady. Now I'm gonna butcher her name here. I gotta double check what it is. It's Miss Willerton. Anyways, it's not really revealed who she is, at least at the beginning. She kind of just lives in a house with what are presumed to be her family. Anyways, her family's a little bit, not dysfunctional, but they're not like exactly on friendly terms. They're kind of just living in the house together. And she is a novelist or a short story writer. So maybe perhaps a little bit of self-insertion or like autobiographical element to this, because obviously Flannery O'Connor was a short story writer. And Miss Willington, I just read it. How could I not know this? Willerton. I'm on the wrong page now. Miss Willerton. She like does some chores, but really she doesn't want to do chores or talk with her siblings. She wants to go upstairs to her typewriter and write. And kind of the narrator kind of gives us her process for how she writes a little bit, and then all of a sudden she's like writing the first few sentences and the story kind of just flips and she's in the story and she's like imagining her life. Now the story that she had been writing in the story is that there's like this 2 sharecroppers, a wife and a husband, and they're kind of making a life for themselves, but they're very poor. And all of a sudden, Miss Willington, how do I keep forgetting this? I'll just call her Miss W. She inserts herself into that character and starts to like fall in love with the man. So she's like obviously like single in the story because she's like self-inserting and like she's like acting as a wife, right? And anyways, they end up having a daughter together in this story, and she's kind of fantasizing. And then her sister downstairs, or roommate, or I'm not really sure, calls to her, and she kind of snaps out of her reverie, her fantasy, her daydream. And she's like, oh, go to the store? Yeah, sure, I'll go to the store for you. She goes shopping, kind of just like, I don't really like shopping. She's kind of being a Debbie Downer. And then on the way back, she passes a couple that match the exact description of the man and wife in her story that she's writing. And then she gets home. She's like, here's the groceries, sister. And then she mentions in an offhand comment, like, I can take care of myself. I'm 44 years old. Right? So you kind of assume that she's like a young lady at the beginning. She's like single, living with her parents. Then we realize that she's 44 and single. And so she obviously has some sort of, I don't even know what it would be, but there's something preventing her from marrying, and she's jealous of this couple that lives in town. And maybe she's not very self-aware because that couple just made themselves into her story like right away. So again, no direct lesson in this story as the previous ones, but it kind of just gave us an insight into like a lonely artist who's kind of aging, and it's not pretty. But yeah, just a window into somebody's life. So yeah, I don't really know if I can say much more about it. It was really good. I liked it. Again, so much bang for your buck because you can read it in like 10 minutes. I don't know, more, give or take 5 minutes. I don't know, but yeah, it's quick. So really awesome. Now I'm just spinning my wheels. I don't really have much more to say. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Sorry about the lighting situation. Honestly, I'm not really sure if that'll fix itself anytime soon until spring. I'm looking out my window here and it's dark and gloomy. Now we have daylight savings time in about 2 weeks. Not sure if that's going to help or not, but yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you next week.